The Pittsburgh Steelers didn't actually sign veteran receiver Marquez Valdes-Scantling last week, as some insiders reported. But the signing appears to be on the horizon, and to complete the transaction, the Steelers created roster space with the release of cornerback Beanie Bishop Jr. The Steelers announced Monday they have released Bishop from the practice squad. The Steelers didn't make any mention of Valdes-Scantling as a corresponding move to Bishop's release. However, both the Pittsburgh Post-Gazette's Jerry Dulock and Steelers insider Mark Kaboly reported just prior to the Steelers announcing Bishop's release that the team will sign the veteran wideout to the practice squad. Steelers waited a week after working him out, but will sign WR Marquez Valdes-Scantling in next couple days and place him on practice squad, per sources. Played 4 seasons Aaron Rodgers in Green Bay. Valdes-Scantling will be teammates with quarterback Aaron Rodgers for the second time in his career. The wideout was with Rodgers when the two played for the Green Bay Packers from 2018 to 21. MVS signing with Steelers makes sense, especially after Rodgers talked so glowingly of him last week. Does it move the needle? Not really, but it does give them a veteran presence at the position in case of injury. Steelers release Beanie Bishop Jr. from practice squad. An undrafted free agent from West Virginia in 2024, Bishop immediately endeared himself to Steelers fans because of his local college connection and strong play. Bishop had a significant role for the Steelers in the first half of his rookie season last year. In a Sunday night affair against the New York Jets, the undrafted rookie intercepted Rodgers twice. He also had 2 pass defenses and a tackle for loss in the blowout win for Pittsburgh. Bishop didn't play as much after Halloween last year, but he turned in a solid rookie campaign overall with 45 combined tackles, including 2 tackles for loss. He also had 7 pass defenses for interceptions and 0.5 sacks. Bishop dressed for all 17 games, starting 6 of them. This year, though, Bishop became expendable when the Steelers acquired Jalen Ramsey. The team waived the former undrafted free agent at the end of the 2025 preseason. The Steelers brought back Bishop for their practice squad, but he had yet to play this year before his release Monday. Bishop is likely a candidate to return to the Steelers' practice squad again if he remains unsigned. But for now, the team needs more practice squad room for other positions. Steelers to sign WR Marquez Valdes-Scantling. Report. As Kaboly wrote, the Steelers adding the veteran receiver makes a lot of sense. The team previously showed interest in signing Valdes-Scantling at the end of August. However, instead of the Steelers, Valdes-Scantling elected to sign with the San Francisco 49ers. At the time, both teams were trying to add the wideout to their practice squad. In 5 games with San Francisco, Valdes-Scantling hauled in 4 passes for 40 yards. The 49ers released the wideout a day after placing him on injured reserve with a calf injury. Valdes-Scantling worked out with the Steelers on October 27. As Kaboly also stated, adding the former Rodgers teammate isn't a major addition at receiver, but he will provide veteran experience and playmaking ability to Pittsburgh's practice squad. In 59 games with the Packers, Valdes-Scantling had 123 catches, 2,153 receiving yards, and 13 touchdowns. He averaged 17.5 yards per reception. Over 111 career NFL games, Valdes-Scantling has averaged 17.3 yards per catch. After the Packers, he played for the Kansas City Chiefs, Buffalo Bills, and New Orleans Saints before joining the 49ers. As everyone waits to see what sort of deals get done before the NFL's trade deadline passes on November 4th, the Pittsburgh Steelers are hard at work. Their general manager, Omar Khan, has been in constant rumors throughout the season, and he seems primed to upgrade his roster. They already added Kyle Duggar last week, and they could swing another trade or 2 before it's done. It's well documented that the Steelers are looking to add a reliable receiver to strengthen their offense. Their struggles against the Colts this past week showed that they could use some help to open things up. Instead of targeting their tight ends more times than not, adding a receiver would free up their star players. While adding a playmaker would be great, there are underlying problems that could become an issue if they fail to trade for some depth. Pittsburgh Steelers GM Omar Khan could target roster upgrades this trade deadline. Mazi Smith, DT, Dallas Cowboys. Dallas might not be sellers before the trade deadline, but they are willing to move some pieces. Mazi Smith stands out as a potential piece they are willing to move. Smith was their first-round pick in 2023, a year in which Pittsburgh expressed plenty of pre-draft interest in him. The Michigan product hasn't panned out with the Cowboys, and a new team might give him another shot at redeeming his career. Smith was seen as a developmental run-stuffer coming out of the draft process. He has been a backup in Dallas, but he could find a new lease on life with the Steelers. The big defensive tackle shouldn't cost much to acquire, but he's a young player with potential. Pittsburgh has young players on the roster, but adding Smith would offer a potential starter and an opportunity to develop a long-term option. Jackson Powers Johnson, OL, Las Vegas Raiders. It's shocking that the Las Vegas Raiders would consider moving Jackson Powers Johnson, but that's the word on the street. Pittsburgh considered both him and Zach Frazier in the 2024 draft for the starting center position, ultimately choosing Frazier. A new coaching staff with the Raiders this year doesn't seem to envision Powers Johnson as their long-term anchor in the trenches. The Steelers conducted extensive pre-draft evaluations to assess the type of player Powers Johnson could become in the NFL. If he is available before the trade deadline, Khan had better keep calling the Raiders. The starting offensive line seems to be improving, but Isaac Seumalo is a pending free agent and is currently dealing with a nagging injury. Powers Johnson's versatility at both guard and center positions could make him an even more appealing option. Alani Taylor, CB, New Orleans Saints. Even though the Steelers' defense performed well against the Colts, they can't sustain forcing that many turnovers. Their secondary still appeared weak at times, and that mostly has to do with Darius Slay. The 34-year-old is old and slow, and their depth at the cornerback position is questionable beyond Brandon Echols. Pittsburgh should seek the trade market for possible solutions to its underlying issue. Alani Taylor is a name who has been in trade rumors leading up to the deadline. Khan has a slight connection to the New Orleans Saints, who are on track to be one of the worst teams in the NFL this season. Taylor is a versatile and physical cornerback who would bring youth to Pittsburgh's secondary. The Steelers need young and faster options on the roster, and Taylor checks those boxes. Fewer trade targets have been consistently rumored to the Pittsburgh Steelers than veteran wide receiver Jakobi Meyers. The receiver has struggled through a toxic season with the Las Vegas Raiders as they continue to find ways to lose games. Their record of 2-6 appears insurmountable to recover from. It has made them a premier target as the trade deadline draws closer. Since George Pickens was sent out of Pittsburgh, everyone has wondered who would take his place. Calvin Austin III and Roman Wilson have shown some good signs in expanded roles this season, but nothing that comforts the worries of the team. Their offense has been inconsistent, and it might need a new receiver on the roster. Negotiations remain ongoing as the team continues to search for answers. Last year, before the trade deadline, the Raiders moved Davante Adams out of town for a reasonable haul. Meyers holds a high asking price from Las Vegas, but those situations usually balance out as the deadline gets closer. Pittsburgh would love to add Meyers, but the likelihood of them sending out a third-round pick or more to nab a receiver of his talents seems rather low. Meyers is a pending free agent following the season, which means he would only play the remainder of the season in Pittsburgh. The Steelers probably couldn't afford to bring the receiver back because his next contract will likely be expensive. That might be a luxury the team cannot afford after they paid DK Metcalf a hefty sum when they extended him in the offseason. Throughout the offseason, preseason, and during the season, Pittsburgh has remained in trade rumors surrounding Meyers. They have kept tabs on the receiver, and they would love to finally reach a deal before the trade deadline passes. It's unlikely they'll want to give up a third-round draft pick, but they might find it acceptable if the Raiders agree to certain conditions. A trade that includes conditional terms on a 2026 third-round pick from Pittsburgh to Las Vegas might be acceptable. The pick would become a third-rounder if the Steelers make some noise in the postseason. If they fail to win a playoff matchup or two, that third-rounder could revert to a fourth-round pick. That would give the Steelers some added insurance in a potential trade. Another condition worth considering for both sides is whether the Steelers could possibly re-sign Meyers. It's unlikely, but that could always be part of a conditional pick going to the Raiders in a deal. Sending a top draft pick, like many have rumored, would be bold for Pittsburgh to consider, unless they have a solution with conditions that could soften the blow in a Meyers deal before the trade deadline.